Hello viewers of The Pioneer. How are you doing? Today we will bring you the latest developments regarding the Russia-Ukraine war. We see that very active operations are taking place on the front line. The Ukrainian armed forces recently rescued and strengthened the Ukrainian personnel and captured 6 Russian soldiers. Images of the incredible operation received thousands of likes on social media. As we often stated in our map reports, the Ukrainian armed forces have defensive operations. When we can talk about defensive operations, you may think that they are only fixed lines. However, the Ukrainian army carries out infiltration operations deep into the front line and inflicts heavy losses on the Russian troops. So, what are the details of the latest operations carried out by the Ukrainian armed forces? Let's take a look at the developments together. As the Pioneer team, we continue to bring the Russia-Ukraine war to your screens. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so as not to miss our daily map reports and reports on the agenda. I also read all your comments on our videos. Please continue to express your opinions about our content. Let's start if you are ready. The Pioneer reports. In the introduction to our report, we mentioned 2 operations. One of these operations took place on the Zaporizhia front line. The footage was recorded during the Russian offensives in the Robotyne sector of the Zaporizhia front line. According to the reports, while Ukrainian troops were conducting operations in this area, Russian troops captured several positions and trenches. One Ukrainian soldier was in the forward part of the defense line. Therefore, the main fighting was largely taking place in the area where this soldier was located. Russian troops entered the Ukrainian soldiers' positions in this area. The Ukrainian soldier was fighting quite heroically on his own. He was alone in his positions. Nevertheless, he continued to defend his positions during the attack of the Russian troops. The Ukrainian armed forces were determined to rescue this soldier. Therefore, the unmanned aerial vehicles immediately mobilized and launched the rescue operation. The operation was called Confidence Eagle. 3 unmanned aerial vehicles moved towards the area where the fighting intensified. According to reports, unmanned aerial vehicles of the Ukrainian army took off from the bases. The rescue operation was carried out by the 95th Separate Polarized Air Assault Brigade. 2 of 3 unmanned aerial vehicles that took off came under fire from the Russian troops in the area, which began to reduce attacks on the point where the Ukrainian soldier was located. Russian troops lost their strength due to the attacks carried out by the Ukrainian unmanned aerial vehicles. However, the attack power of the Russian soldiers still in the position was quite high. One of the 3 unmanned aerial vehicles also moved towards this area. The Russian troops in the positions were also disappeared. The soldiers trapped in the trench also utilized the opened area and moved away from the trench. The Trust Eagle operation was successfully determined in this way. The statements coming after the operations are also quite remarkable. One of the soldiers describing the operation described the developments as follows. We successfully destroyed the enemy. There were many wounded and remaining groups left. We used flashing lights to signal the soldiers trapped in the trench that this was a friendly drone, while a single grenade was attached to the Mevdik drone in the area. We turned the drone's cameras fully to the left, and that's how he started to leave the position. When the soldier came out of the trench, he was confronted by a Russian soldier. However, our unmanned aerial vehicles immediately took the enemy under fire. The Russian soldier fell under a tree. He probably lost his life there. We managed to get our soldiers out of the trench and take him to the safe area. Our unmanned aerial vehicles showed again that they are very good. They not only destroy the enemy, they also save lives. Since the beginning of the war, Ukrainian drones have on several occasions managed to rescue Ukrainian soldiers trapped in the attacks of the Russian troops. At the same time, the damage caused by the drones to the Russian army is well known. This is one of the weakest points of the Russian armed forces. The superiority of the Ukrainian army's unmanned aerial vehicles is now an indisputable fact. Another remarkable development at the same point is related to the captured Russian soldiers. We are again in the Robotyne sector of the Zaporizhia front line. According to the reports, Russian troops were again carrying out an attacks in this area. Ukrainian troops resisted the attacks of the Russian troops for a long time. Most of the attacking Russian troops were destroyed during the defense operations. 16 Russian soldiers remain in the area. Russian soldiers asked for artillery support from the headquarters for a long time. However, this support was not provided. Ukrainian troops were quite sure that this support would not be provided because it had happened many times before. Desperate Russian soldiers raised their weapons in the air to inform Ukrainian troops that they would surrender. Ukrainian troops in the area then captured 6 Russian soldiers and took them to a prison camp. According to reports, the Ukrainian unit that captured the Russian soldier was part of the 65th Separate Brigade. No report on the captured Russian soldiers has been shared so far. However, according to the allegations, the captured Russian soldiers are quite satisfied with their current positions, because the Russian soldiers who had been serving on the front line for a long time had neither been rotated nor their needs had not been made by the Russian army. However, Ukrainian soldiers are now treating captured Russian soldiers with respect for human rights. As can be seen, even during the defense operations, the Ukrainian army is still causing heavy losses to the Russian army. At the same time, it manages to save its own soldiers from difficult situations. As we have been stating for a long time, the superiority established by the Ukrainian army with unmanned aerial vehicles has worn out the Russian army. This situation is likely to continue for a long time. On the other hand, the Ukrainian armed forces continue to destroy strategic targets belonging to the Russian army. In the past days, the Ukrainian army again carried out a very successful operation. It is reported that 2 defense systems belonging to the Russian army were destroyed during this operation. According to reports, the operation in question targeted Russian air defense systems and positions in the Belgrade region of the Russian Federation. One detail about this issue is also quite remarkable. According to reports, the strategic positions of the Russian army were leaked by the Ivan Fedorov, the mayor of the Melitopol. This claim was shared with the public by the Ukrainian intelligence officials. Let us emphasize again that this is a claim, but it is pretty strong claim. So what do you think? Do you think the operations carried out by the Ukrainian army was successful? Do you think the Ukrainian army should use unmanned aerial vehicles more often? Do you think Ukrainian unmanned aerial vehicles were successful? Do you think the number of Russian prisoners will increase? Do you consider the defense strategy of the Ukrainian troops successful? Let me know in the comments. You know that I read and I care about all your comments.